action, because the Rugby League World Championship, which began in Australia and New Zealand in the summer, continues now in this country, starting today, and we're going to see this afternoon the England-Wales match. Now, the result is crucial to the championship hopes of both countries, and Wales beat England in the first part of the competition in Australia. Now, at Warrington this afternoon, play started 10 minutes or so, just after that, a little earlier than that. Already there's been scoring. England went 2-0 up with a penalty, and then I gather they moved further ahead with this very good try.
Roger Millward, a chance for Roger Millward, chance for Kenny Gill, Gill to Fielding and Fielding into the corner.
Well, there we are. That's some early action in the first half, and play is already is still in progress in that first half with Wales 0, England 8 at the moment. Let's join Eddie Waring live.
And in fact it is 10, because the goal has been kicked, 10 points to 0, with Wales playing in their home match, just looking a little bit not quite with it, with a brilliant display by England. Know how important it is, and the try was scored by John Holmes from a pass for Atkinson after you'd seen the Gill-made try for Fielding. So that's the two tries, Fielding and Holmes, and 2 goals Fairbairn, 10 points to 0. And remind you that England are in white on the left, now in position and possession, and Wales on the right, playing in, as I say, although at Warrington it is one of their home fixtures in this World Championship, and England have got up to a very, very good start. They need a win here today. Kenny Gill, Steve Norton having a very good game. Steve Norton of Castleford, Roger Millward, the captain, with his very good kicking, left leg kicking, showing his good captaincy, leading his men. Not a great talker, but a quiet doer. An effective one too. He had a hand in the first try, which Kenny Gill then made for Fielding, which you saw, and then Holmes a try. French referee, by the way, and a penalty for Wales. But they have 2 English touch judges, Mick Norton, of course, the senior referee from nearby Widnes, and Roy Dennett of Warrington. And Mr. Dennett is on duty there with his flag up. Quite a good crowd here at Wilderspool. I suppose they've got mixed feelings which team they want to win. John Mantle, he's spoken to for a couple of times for offences at the Maurice Kayal. Brian Gregory, Wigan, one of the new caps, Eddie Cunningham, Cal Coslet. 15 minutes gone, and we actually kicked off 4 minutes to 3, and the first goal was kicked before the kick-off time. And it's the tackles, 5 tackles playing internationals, and somebody's requiring attention, which is Cal Coslet. And quite a lot of support, a lot of telegrams come up from Newport Rugby Union for David Watkins, to Mull James for Resolven. And there he is with a beard, David Watkins. And the 3 coaches have come up from Wales. Rugby League follows, and Rugby Union, of course. But it's England that's been doing the scoring, 10 points to 0. And a good supporting work by Irving, and good running by Norton. John Holmes has got Atkinson. Atkinson has taken it. He's got 2 men to beat. He's beaten 1, but the trip tackle, legitimate of course, has pulled him down, and plenty of pace in this match. And the French referee giving offside to the Welsh team, Brian Gregory in particular. And up comes Scottish-born full-back George Fairbairn, and he qualified to play for an English club. Comes, of course, from Kelso. He's Scottish-born of an English father, and that's the reason why he can play for England, in case you're wondering why he should be playing as a Scot. The first half of this, well, not the first half, the first third, shall we call it, was played in Australia and New Zealand. Australia leading 7 points, 7 league points, that is. New Zealand 5, England 4, Wales 2 and France 2. That's the table. Fairbairn now takes the kick with the score 10 points to the Whites of England against none to the Reds of Wales. A bit round the corner-ish in the Watkins mould, a little bit of wind with them, and the crowd seem to indicate that there's 2 points for him, and indeed there are, much to the delight of. So George Fairbairn kicked 3 goals in 13 minutes to make the score England 12, Wales 0. And it's Wales playing towards the scoreboard end, the church end, those of you know Warrington, and England playing towards the railway end. So this English team showing a lot of keenness. Kenny Gill. Those of you who saw Sports Night last night would see the very good try that Kenny Gill scored in New Zealand. Dummy half Bob Irving. Millward takes the bouncing ball well. Holmes has got Atkinson outside him, and out comes Millward again. What a ubiquitous player Millward is, all over the shop. Holmes, Kenny Gill. Looked a bit like Millward at times, these two half-backs, and used to see Millward many times in number 6 jersey. The kick. Clive Sullivan, captain of the last World Cup successful squad of Great Britain, now playing for Wales. There he is. Well, the French referee seems to be under control of things at the moment. 25-yard tap. Restart. Mel James. Other people also from Abercorn. Time to have a word before the match. No doubt all the Blinder boys down in South Wales will be very keen for David Watkins, particularly after great success in beating 4 top teams this year. But at the moment, the Welsh team are down 12 points to 0. With the sun shining brilliantly. Turf looking good. David Treasure. John Bevan, first time he's touched the ball, and his hometown people giving him in a cheer, and if he can get the ball in, he's got the ball into Frank Wilson. Is it grounded? So the referee wags one finger and says no. There's a to-ing and fro-ing going over. Frank Wilson thought he was in, but the referee says no. Frank Wilson followed up very well. Bevan almost scored on his own, actually. Ten-yard scrum, 20 minutes gone. Wales 0, England 12, and quite a fast 20 minutes that, which shows the pace of the game in this Welsh home international. But of course we're playing down at Swansea ere long, and the Australians arrive. They have an important match against New Zealand next week, and New Zealand to beat Australia would help England whether to win today. Steve Norton, Castleford. Jeff Gresham, new cap from Dewsbury, taken by Tony Fisher, who's just recently, the last 24 hours or so, been transferred from Leeds to Castleford. Colin Forsyth, another new cap, number 10 from Bradford. Roger Millward. Hogan. Kenny Gill trying to find a wide open space. Somebody inside, well taken indeed by John Holmes. John Holmes has got Atkinson if he comes inside. He does, but he doesn't take the ball. And the referee gives a knock on. He might easily have given offside, but he's given a knock on. And that was a let off. Holmes got away. Brilliant. Holmes of Leeds is having a very good season this season. Done very well with Leeds this season. David Watkins being off for attention, but back on. Something matter with his left hand. Phil Coslett. Tony Fisher, the battling warrior, who goes straight down, and everybody in the way better get out of it, he thinks and says, and does. Cunningham. David Watkins. David Watkins has got support from him. Fullback Bill Francis working a move. Cunningham and the fifth tackle. 5-tackle rule. Four scrums so far, 4-3 to England. Bridget hooking for England, and Tony Fisher hooking for Wales. And a penalty to Wales for knee. And Roger Millward must have said something to the referee and has given it 10 yards. He's obviously been trained by Mick Norton, I would imagine, as this French referee, that if they talk back to you, give them another 10 yards and they'll give up talking. And it's David Watkins, Salford, of course, 17 goals this season, putting on the mark and then coming back. It's all right, he's going back. David Watkins kick in, the captain of Wales, and 2 points here would no doubt be very useful to get the Welsh team going. Quite a lot supporting them. It's his first attempt. David Watkins, Bliner, Newport, Salford, Wales, Great Britain. Talked about finishing his career this year, but what a good career he's had in both codes of rugby. 2 to the left, and then he tries to curl it in towards the church end. That's what I call it, in the scoreboard end, and it's as straight as a die. 2 points. Wales 2, in their own fixture. Wales 2, England 12.
Remember, with England in a 12 points to 2 lead when we were last watching over Wales. Well, since then, Wales have come back well, and we're going to see now, still in the first half, how they did it with this try.
Bill Francis up. Bill Francis making a good burst of support, and it's well taken. Good try to Peter Bannett for Wales. Very good try. Bill Francis did very well there, coming up from the full-back position, making...
Well, that does really leave the situation for the second half pretty well balanced indeed. Wales 9, England 14, and Wales will obviously be reassured by that comeback into the match. So let's join Eddie Waring, who's just waiting for them now to come out for the second half.
Well, thank you, Frank, and there it is. Wales are 9, England 14, and it really put them back into the game, particularly Watkins' goal, of course. It was, in fact, as the hooter went, just after it kicked it, there'd been quite a little bit of argument about an incident before then, which Millward had quite a little bit of a natter with the referee, but that's all in the past. What's in the future is the Welsh team. Francis, Sullivan, Watkins, Wilson and Bevan, and the halfbacks Treasure and Banner, who we saw get the try, and the forwards Mantle, Fisher, James, Cunningham, Gregory and Coslet, with Turner and Rowe the subs. Well, that's the Welsh team, and we give the Welsh team first because it is their home match in the sense of the competition. And in there they are, you can see the back of the English picture coming onto the field. England, Fairbairn having a very good game. Fielding, Holmes and Atkinson, the halfbacks Gill and Millward, who look alike and almost play alike, and they're really gelling together and doing very well. The forward, Hogan, Bridges, Forsyth, Grayson, Irving, Norton, with Eckersley and Nichols subs, and I wouldn't be surprised if Nichols were to come on, even at this moment, but maybe soon, because I know that they're thinking in the dressing room, and it's Watkins, the captain of Wales, very keen in possibly his last season in rugby league football to show the prowess of Wales in this international competition. So it will be England, led by Roger the Dodger Millward, having a very good match, leading 14 points to 9, being presented with the ball by the French referee. So England on the right, Wales on the left, and away we go before we know who's going to take this match. And the hoot is down, but it's the whistle they're looking for, and Millward kicks off. Wales on the left. Scrums 8-6 to England first half, and penalties 4-3 to Wales, with a very controversial one that enabled the last goal to be kicked. But 14 points to 9, England in wide. Wales with plenty of support. A lot of people come up from the valleys to see this match, and a lot of support here for Wales. Mantle, Bill Francis up from the full-back position. Well, good supporting play by Gregory, and Wales starting well. Cunningham and Gregory together, with the ball loose, and Fisher there, but it's Forsyth. Brian Gregory is injured, but he's up. Bridges to Norton, having had a good first half. John Holmes having had a good match and getting his pass in well to Brian Hogan from Wigan. I think there's a 4 tackle gone. The referee's not quite. A good break by Millward. He's looking for inside. He's still going. He's been taken by Frank Wilson. What a good run by Millward. Good leadership from little Roger Millward. And he's even standing up to the big fella. The ball's coming wide and deep, but lost ground by it, with Watkins taking John Holmes and Mantle coming on to give a little bit of effective cover on the 5th tackle. Well, 40 yards was gained by Millward's run, 20 yards was lost by the pass that came astray for England. England in wide, 14 points to 9, only a try and a goal the margin. Peter Banner, try scorer for Wales. And Mel James playing back to Banner. Banner just getting himself turning around and not coming off very well with it. Coslet. And a good long one to Watkins. Watkins got out of trouble for one tackle, but taken then again by Holmes, who's hurt himself and seems to be really in trouble. But play goes on with Wales doing the attack. And on comes Dennis Wright to look after the injured player while play goes on. He was very worried, it's his arm, and was very worried was John Holmes. You could see he was in pain just below us. And Dennis Wright looking at him. And the play goes on, and the sub's coming on too. Dennis Wright is signalling for the sub, which will be David Eckersley. And David Treasure. Wales now putting on pressure, 14 points to 9. We've got plenty of people cheering for them. This could be the break that Wales want. They're starting like the English team did in the first half. And there's John Holmes going off. But play goes on, and knock on. It must be a knock on. But of course the thing is to keep playing with a French referee, and there's the sub, David Eckersley, who I'm assuming will just take over the number 4 berth, but wearing the number 14 jersey. The remaining sub for England is George Nichols, forward sub. John Bevan. John Bevan, there'll be a great cheer even from the Warrington English fans if Bevan were to score. Bill Francis, 14 points to 9, remember, just to try and goal the margin. Peter Banner. And a very lively Wales at the moment. Treasure. Big John Mantle. And it's in, Travis. In to Carl Coslet. From his fellow clubman, St. Helens, so this looks like making it 14-12, and the referee has just noticed so that is come on. That is David Eckersley. Well, let's have a look at that again, because it was a good effort by John Mantle. Then he got his passing very well to Coslet, who's 6 foot, just managed to reach it, and as Watkins takes the kick. 14 points to 12, 14-14. Well, you couldn't have a more exciting World Championship match than this. 5 minutes gone, second half, David Watkins. I gather information from the dressing room that John Holmes has broken a finger on his left hand, gone to have it strapped up, so may come back. And it's rather unfortunate because John Holmes has had a very good match so far, and he indeed has been the major part in the middle field play, along with Gill and Millward. David Watkins kicking for touch, and he has to come and mark on the spot to show that he knows where it is. It's just one of the little foibles of the French referee, who by and large is having quite a good match, and well taken indeed by Keith Fielding. Keith Fielding, of course, a brilliant run, but he's running into trouble. Keith Fielding, ex-Moseley, English Rugby Union, of course, and back come England after not a too bright opening. David actually touching the ball for the more or less the first time. 10 Rugby Union caps Fielding, 69 to 72. And the referee said, "You're not having any of that, so you better have a scrum down." Giving Peter Banner a few dark looks, and also looking at Roger Millward now too. I don't think he'll frighten little Roger. England ball, offside Peter Banner, and it must be Fairbairn to come up and take a shot at goal. Fairbairn has kicked 4 out of 5. Josh Fairbairn settled well in rugby league football from the border of Scotland. Rugby Union had a very good tour, and of course it did honours very quickly. Doesn't do a lot of palaver about kicking goals. He gets the ball down, but does stand quite a spell to get it balanced, I suppose, and then he makes a quick short run, and it's a goal. It's a goal, 16 points to 14. So Wales 14, England 16. And it's been rather remarkable that in all the international, the average has been about 26 points per match, and the average in the other internationals that we've had so far. Watkins to restart. The ball's got to go 10 yards, and the English players mustn't come beyond that 10-yard mark where they're standing. They don't. And it's a long one to Keith Fielding for the first try. Gregory, Norton. I see that Holmes is back on the bench with his finger strapped. I would think possibly on that, thinking on that Holmes thing, it probably can't come back with one sub on. There's only another one, it would have to be Nichols. And of course, your 5 tackle rule, where of course your 6 tackle in rugby, and there is John Holmes, and he's getting a little bit of a pat from George Nichols, who will be the next sub to come on if a sub is brought on. Not a lot of difference in possession, which I suppose will be the vital thought in Alex Murphy's mind. Because I suppose he would put Irving up front, or Jeff Grayson, if Klopp had to go off. Cunningham, halfway line on the left, coming into view now. David Treasure, and the pace is still pretty good. And well played by Treasure. Everybody thinks, of course, he was going to play backward, but he can play it forward. The referee waves his hand around as if he's sending a signal from Clamber ahead, but he's really doing quite a good job. 10 minutes gone in the second half. Coslet, Wales now, almost sort of fighting for their World Championship honours. Scrum's 9-8 to Wales. Fisher had taken the last 5 until that point of time. Nice, sweet little break was that. Just slided it away. And the referee giving a penalty against Bill Francis. Millward wants to take it quickly. Seems to be frightened of taking kicks very quickly because of the referee possibly doesn't think he's on the mark or something. But he can take all the time in the world if the ball goes into touch, which it doesn't. It goes to Frank Wilson, not a good kick against the wind. I think there's a lot. Flags are very quiet. Mantle, John Mantle. The forwards now have been battled for quite a lot with scrums just going fairly well, fairly even with Wales now having taken, apart from the last one, 5 on the trot. Will now be looking for continued possession, and the referee gives Millward offside. The ball was out and Millward must have said something to him, or somebody must have said something to him. It's no good. Obviously, this fellow has been told now, if you have any chat back, give another 10 yards and stop him arguing and talking. And this should be a chance for Watkins, 16-14 to make it 16-16. Straight to the dive, 16-16. Well, I would, there's the score, 16-16. I wouldn't care to forecast the result of this match at this stage. It was all in England in the early part of the first half, 12-4, and then 14-9 at half-time, and then 14-14, 16-14, 16-16. Just shows how it is all going. Clive Sullivan. We haven't seen as much of Millward and Gill in this second half, then they didn't have the ball to do it. Fairbairn is being chased by John Bevan, and he gets out of John Bevan's clutches. He's got Fielding with him, should have passed to Fielding. Fielding was there and occupied almost. That should have been the move there, and a given chance for Fielding to have got away down the wing. A little needle coming in to this match. He's not going to let him play the ball. He's got to get up and play it. So Eric Hughes and Frank Wilson. So the Welsh fire is now coming out. And the referee has given a penalty for a different sort of an up and under. Well, nobody can complain about this match. Tim Norton due for a break down the ball, and Bob Irving went without it. He was on the run, he was in the right position. He seemed to catch him on the palm of his hand somehow. Kyle Coslett. David Treasure, Wales in the red on the left. Tony Fisher. The pundits were thinking about the strength of the Welsh pack and whether England will be strong enough in the pack, and the testing time is just about coming. The referee has both hands up. He's 4 on one hand and 3 fingers on the other. I don't know what he's doing, so I'm not going to attempt to guess anymore. Keith Fielding. He went under John Bevan and over Frank Wilson and Frank Wilson. And in comes Mr. Norton. And Frank Wilson is now talking. Fatal to chat. Fatal. 4 more little chats and they'll have a kick at goal. 15 minutes gone, second half. There he is, Frank Wilson. Quite a good footballer, done well for St. Helens, but I suppose he'll be keeping a little quiet now. Bridges. Forsyth. Well taken, well given to Hogan, well supported, but somebody's down. Ball lost. It's Grayson actually, Jeff Grayson of Dewsbury, his first international. Ball loose, come down. Got a leg injury. And I see moving around on the touchline George Nichols. And knowing Alec Murphy's ideas of rugby league, I wouldn't be surprised if he got him on. But anyway, he's waiting. His problem will be who would go propping. That would be a problem because Nichols is virtually a last three-man down. John Mantle used to play in the back three, but now up front, number 8. 16-16 the score. And the Welsh Dragons are going on to every loose ball they can get and taking it well on. Bridges has got it. Can get it to Fielding. Eric Hughes can run if he gets in to his stride, but Frank Wilson took him. And Frank Wilson just wrestles a bit with him to, I'm quite sure, to save a bit of time till his men gets back. Colin Forsyth from Bradford Northern. 16-16 the score. Fine-Gael inside, slip pass to Irving. Irving's one of the runners in the forward. England in a position to have a drop if needs be. Going for a quick one from Millward. Roger Millward. And he lost the ball. And a penalty given against Brian Gregory, I think. And the referee is making John Mantle face the ball, and John Mantle has something else to do. He's stopping on the line. So there's a little to-ing and froing, and it appears that Brian Gregory is injured, and that's what they're telling the referee, but he's up. And Fairbairn will obviously, he got a knock on his face, on his nose. And Fairbairn sets up to kick a goal, which will put England back into the lead. It's 16-16 if he kicks it. 7th attempt, 5 successes. Scots-born George Fairbairn. And there he goes. And it's a goal. 18 points to 16. So bags of points in this match. And bags of possibilities even yet. And I'm sure if Mr. Austin Hayward is fit enough to be watching this, I believe he's feeling better, he'll be delighted about England, but if you're wondering what's going to happen in the late stages, with Watkins still to unfold his own particular personality in a breaking away. A long one to George Fairbairn. .25 yards line, England's 25, and the referee can give penalties at any given spot. The ball was lost by Brian Hogan. Quite right, the referee's quite right. Steve Norton is scratching his head about as if he wondered what he gave it for, but obviously lost the ball, did Brian Hogan. England's ball. Norton. Millward now resuming his role as master of tactics. Hogan, a nice one to Irving, but he's got out of it. It's coming, can Eckersley. Eckersley's not the fastest of man. And Watkins caught him, but he's still going. Get it out to Fairbairn. Fairbairn taken by Sullivan. So England putting on some pressure, but losing the ball. Atkinson's had no chance of a run. just reminded me when I saw him making the tackle there. I'm seeing much of him, but halfway through the second half, 20 minutes gone, 20 to go. See the referee on the right with his signals. England lost a chance of possession, and Wales are really putting on hard football now, led by Watkins and Bill Francis and Frank Wilson, all good footballers. Frank Wilson receiving the treatment from Eric Hughes. Get off, he said, and they look at each other as if they'd never met. Gregory, a break here, supporting play by Francis. Not a knock-off, and the referee, the fifth tackle. He caught it, so it wouldn't have been a knock-on, but it was the fifth tackle with the scrums 10-10. England 18, Wales 16. In the second part of this World Championship. Blind side, wants support. Gets it, but Eckersley goes down to the cover of Coslet. Having a good game, Coslet. Steve Norton took over loose forward from Mal Reilly, both Castleford and England. Great Britain. The ball's gone loose. Eric Hughes. Got quite a bit of speed, Eric Hughes, of witness. We've seen him in one or two of the competitions when we've got him on television. Doesn't have a chance to go it, and that end is bereft of people. Plenty of people on that far side, but I'm talking about players. Two's now going into position. Bridges, Millward, a little short one, and going to Kenny Gill. Kenny Gill, what he's going to do inside to Eckersley. And Kenny Gill is flat out. Kenny Gill is flat out, and the test judge is on, and it's a stiff arm, and a stiff arm against Bill Francis. And the referee is nodding that he knows what happened, and he knows who did it, and this is the way to bring him round. So Kenny Gill taking the kick. When he comes round, that is. Kenny Gill is the man out, and the only we've got on the bench George Nichols, because George is the forward. Alec Murphy is pointing at something. Bill Oxley, the coach, the manager, is on his feet, and they feel that he's got Dennis Wright is signalling that it looks as if he needs help. So Murphy's on his, there is Bill Oxley, the manager, and to the right is Alex Murphy, also on his feet. But I know what happened. You see that it is the injured player is of course a back, and they're a bit reluctant to bring a forward on. But there's a stretcher out for him, and there's a little bit of discussion going on with manager Oxley and Murphy, and Roger Millward is going across to have a word, and he's going to take the kick with the player being attended to. I think he'll walk round the bench and somebody have a word, and if he takes the kick, it's no goal. It remains 18 points to England, 16 to Wales, and there's quite a little bit of breeze around. And reporting to the touch judge, to Mr. Norton, is George Nichols. I was just trying to think what could happen with the changed English team, which will have to be. I should think that Steve Norton will go in the backs. I can't see anyone else. Bob Irving could, but I would think it will be Nichols in the forward and Steve Norton into the backs, with of course Kenny. Well, after all that, it's restart with England 18, Wales 16. And this tension and this powerhouse stuff won't let up before the end of this match. Hogan, just a 2-point margin. And handling the ball for the first time in Nicholls and Dave Eckersley. David Eckersley will, of course, I would imagine, go stand off to replace the injured Ken Gill. And Gill is now on his feet, walking round the touchline. That, I feel, should be why there was hesitancy in bringing on a reserve, the sub, until they knew what was up, because Steve Norton is now playing centre. Wales getting possession. Coslet. England have got a job on their hands with Wales now. John Mantle having a good match. It's obliging some of these fellas when they get a red jersey on, what it brings out of them. And it's bringing a lot out of the Welsh team today. David Watkins near the post with a chance at goal. Could soon put it 18-all. It's 18-16 to England. Well, Kenny Gill is looking a bit better, getting the thwart from the crowd. They won't feel happy about having to go off. Been having a very good match, Kenny Gill of Salford. Fisher. Mantle. Roger Millward, not quite as devastating as he was in the early stages, but he had a lot of work to do. Working moves. Les Pearce is the Welsh coach, and Ronnie Simpson is the Welsh manager. Bill Francis up. Interception, Bridget, but he can't go the length of the field, but at least he's got possession. The speed of the Great Britain English back, has been rather depleted. There's a chance for Eckersley, but I think he's too much speed against him. He's got to get it to one of the fast men. Steve Norton, of course, is a forward, really. Nicholls, sub-forward. Hogan. The speed, of course, could come from the right wing, Fielding and Hughes, and, of course, Atkinson, who hasn't seen the ball, really, from a passing point of view. 18 points to England, Wales 16. Well, it's just get your head down and go, and that's what he did, and it's the 5th scrum. Well, the scrum which will come after this tackle will put either one or the other side in the lead of scrum taking, because it's equal at the moment. Oh, Millward trying to sneak down the side. George Nicholls. Good forward. Fresh, of course. Hogan. Got a nice pass in. Hogan going to try to take the lot on. He won't let go of his foot. Hey, let him have his foot. He can't play without it. Got to play that ball. Put him off too. There's a chance if he can get it to Fielding, or Hughes can go on his own, and Hughes does. Hughes goes on his own and does it well. Hughes, Keith Fielding as the foil, and gets a vital try at this stage of the game in the shadows. Well, this was the incident where Bridges got it away, cross on the line, and then when Hughes got the ball, he then moved it well, as if he had the opening there, but he did well to go. He caught the line, and Millward jumping in delight, showing one of his rare occasions of being so thrilled, keeps it to himself. 21 points to 16, and we've got Colin Forsyth being attended to, but they've got to stay on now. There's no subs to use. And George Fairbairn, I don't know if the referee is signalling something to see if they're all right, and I'm sure Mr. Norton's all right and Mr. Dennett. And Wales might bring on Glyn Turner. 21-16. Fairbairn, it'd be a useful kick if he shot it. There's no goal. No goal, so it remains a 5 points margin, and on the touch line side is Glyn Turner, and if possibly replacing Dave Treasure. Dave Treasure doesn't particularly want to go off. I think what they'll have to do in rugby league, like of course did in the World Cups, showing the man numbered to come off. Watkins to restart. Gill has gone to the dressing room with concussion, and that's a restart on the 25-yard line with the tap. Well, that try by Hughes, with a well-sounding name, playing for England, could be the decider, but there's a bit of time yet. And we don't know what injury time the referee, or the timekeepers rather, will give. George Nichols. Gratian, Dewsbury. That's played in the backs before he put on weight. Clean white jersey of George Nichols, taking on Cunningham. Millward. A chance to get Atkinson away from George Fairbairn. Atkinson, of course, will be wondering when he's going to get a chance to run. Fielding did have a run, in fact got the first try with a first break by Millward, but then Kenny Gill taking the last one on to Fielding. 25-yard line on the left, show the distance from the post. Wales in possession from the scrum. Peter Banner. So John Atkinson is going to do his work in the tackling. Just 5 points, 21 points, and the sub looking good. Frank Wilson not taking the pass. Steve Norton getting the ball, and a useful position to have the ball, because there was an overlap with John Bevan, the hero of the Warrington crowd, who would have really lost their English feelings and gone for Bevan of Warrington, although he plays a red jersey. Other Welsh forwards are really getting stuck into the job. John Mantle and John and Nichols, two St Helensmen, were having a little quiet work there. Wales ball. Bill Francis. Ball loose. I think it was a bit of a half attempt, was that. I think he pulled his leg back as he was going in. I can imagine everybody saying ooh at that moment. Chance for John Bevan. Remember, it's just one goal, one try, the margin at this point of time. Oh, good work by Coslet. Francis being asking for the ball, comes up, David Watkins. On the right wing, Clive Sullivan going without the ball, and scrum down. David Watkins, of course, leading Wales in the twilight of his rugby league career, and would love to win this World Championship, of course. So as we go into the last 5 minutes, it's 21 points to England, 16 to Wales. And England very much Swansea to win, and the referee kind of a penalty for this. The referee's signals are very interesting. He makes no bones about them. He waves his arms around a lot, and he gives a very high show with his fist that it was a head-high tackle. George Fairbairn to kick. Had a good match, apart from, in addition to his goal kicking, not apart from. Into the restaurant end. We're at the top of the restaurant, sort of. Colin Firth. Now, can England hold out? Wales will be playing Australia in Swansea on October 19th, and New Zealand on November 2nd, also at Swansea. So I'm sure there'll be a welcome in the outside for them there as Millward goes streaming on. Roger Millward, 5 yards out, 10 yards, 5, make it 6. He's going to have a drop. He's going to have a drop, and it's a goal. He's going to have a drop, Keith Bridges, and it's 1 point. And of course, that makes it 22-16. And of course, this is a tactic that is now being used a lot when they're trying to goal in the margin to get 1 more point on. So 22-16. We've got an injured player over on the side. There is. It looks like Roger Millward. It looks like Roger Millward, which will be quite a blow if he's got to stay there, because there's no more substitutes allowed. Kenny Gill has been awarded the Truman Man of the Match, and he's off injured, so if he's recovered sufficiently to hear that announcement, at least he'll be very pleased. He had a very, very good game. I wouldn't argue against that decision at all. Millward is on his feet. And whilst all that happened, Rowe came on for Gregory for Wales. So all subs have had a go. And the Reds of Welsh are fighting to the end. 2 minutes left, plus any injury time. The people in Welsh were telling me that sent word that it was going to be a 5-point victory for Wales. We're very close, but except it's the other way around. At the moment, it's 22-16. The promises of great things in this World Cup, with England playing New Zealand at Bradford, and of course they will play Australia at Wigan. That's on November 1, just in case you didn't know. George Nichols. While the wingers of England haven't had a lot of chances, at least the midfield players being good, and Millward trying to get Fielding away there. Fielding had more opportunity to touch the ball far more than Atkins, for that matter. Hogan. Number 15, Peter Rowe, from St Ives Way. And he's under... No, he isn't. Dave Eckersley on the 5th tackle, a yard short. Peter Rowe taking it with the 1 minute to go, plus injury time. And it was Dennis Wright, the English physio, looking at somebody, wanting to come on. And of course they can come on if the player is down, but he's got to be down, and the play goes on. 22 points to England, 16 to Wales. Possession here is very vital. The referee not giving offside. He has been doing on similar situations earlier in the match. Bill Francis, 25 yards line, and there's just feels a little bit as if that drop goal by Bridges might just have quietened them in view of the time. 40 minutes has gone. Clive Sullivan on the 5th tackle. I think the referee has had quite a good match. He's obviously given his interpretations his way and decisions his way, but he's kept well on top of it. Roger Ward looking a little bit worse for wear. But he will go right to the end. He carries his captaincy well, both by example and oh, this is a bad one, but recovered by Steve Norton. And there goes the whistle with just a few seconds only of injury time. And in this, what I think must have been a very exciting match, with England starting 12 points to 0 at one period, then 14 points to 9 at half-time. Wales then came into the picture 14 all, 16-16, 18-16 for England, 21-16, and finally 22-16, with Fairbairn kicking some very good goals and the Bridges goal really settling it at the end. So from Warrington with the score, Wales 16, England 22. Hope you've enjoyed it. Goodbye, the sun is still shining. Well, I'm still at Warrington, where England has beaten Wales in the Rugby League World Championship. But as they say in the North, only just. And the man to tell us why it is only just is with me, of course, the star of Wales, David Watkins. David, what happened?
Well, the thing is this, that we came out on the park this afternoon. We obviously knew we had to win this game to make it important. But the thing is this, that England came out, they showed more inventiveness, they played some good football and caught us totally unawares in the first quarter and hour of the game. They ran in 12 points and it was very difficult to take the lead from there on in, and very much we were second dogs and second to them at all times. But the thing is, it says much for the spirit of the Welsh side, for the wonderful way in which they fought back.
I thought they were great, and I thought your forwards really got back into it to make the game a bit.
They did. People like John Mantle and Coslet, who were two old heads in the side, who played exceptionally well this afternoon.
The old red jersey.
Well, that was it, and they were the lynching pin, you know, the lynching pin really for us to get back into the game. And when it came to 14 each and 16 each, I really thought that the deficit that we'd suffered in the first quarter of the game wasn't going to affect us. But inevitably it did, and it's terribly difficult in international football to come back after being so much down in the first quarter.
Because one or two of your players were chatting a little bit, weren't they? I saw you having a word with one or two.
Well, the thing is this, that obviously at a situation like that, 12 down, it's no good rollicking people. You have to prompt them then to get the best out of them. But we bunched too much, and England, we must give credit to England for the wonderful football which they portrayed this afternoon.
How did you like the French referee?
Well, he's very difficult. He made one or two controversial decisions, which took us all by surprise, me in particular.
Yeah, about the kick in the head.
Exactly, and then they kicked a goal from it, which fortunately didn't have any adverse effect on the game.
Well, Ari, you've had 5 defeats, granted a very narrow defeat, but how do you feel about them in this World Series?
Well, I think that we've most certainly showed that Wales are a force in international football. We haven't had the best of luck in some games, but it's no good crying over spilt milk. We've had the opportunities, we really haven't taken them.
Well, let me come to the $64 question. What are you going to do with Australia down in Swansea, and is defeat today going to affect the gate?
I don't think so, really. I think the wonderful way in which the Welsh side came back in the second half augurs well for everything for the international team. And although it would have obviously been better to go back home in Wales with a win under our belts, I'm sure that we still have the support and
the crowd will be behind you.
Yes,
well, I'll come down to that match, but before I let you go, what about Blaina these days?
Well, being back home living now at Newport, I've popped up and seen them play both against Pontypool and against Abertillery, and without doubt they are giant killers in their own right. And it's wonderful that in their centenary season that they should be doing so well. But they're a great club and a great lot of players.
I believe so. Well, thanks for your part in rugby league football. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Eddie.
Well, what about this match at St Helens, and what about the future of the World Championship, including Wales? Well, the man who's had a lot to do with Rugby League and this World Championship is the Secretary-General, David Oxley. David, first of all, how do you see Wales in this competition?
Well, they're certainly, for a new international side, given tremendous value wherever they've played. Although, as you mentioned, their playing record is less than we'd hoped it might be. They were not unlucky against England. I think England played so well, but they played well enough in that match to have won many matches.
They have, of course, great international potential, haven't they, within the players that they've got?
Oh, tremendous. I mean, David Watkins, John Bevan, Kel Coslet, John Mantle, these are players of Wales stature by any standards.
Do you think that the future of them in the World Cup is going to be a regular thing? Do you think it's going to be continuous, for instance?
Well, without doubt, Wales will continue to compete in this World Cup. They've been such a popular side and contributed so much good football. The Championship itself will be debated at the International Board meeting in November, but I expect it to continue. The main debate will centre on the regularity rather than the form.
I remember going to St Helens Swans in 1945 and seeing a great game of rugby, and they kept coming and going, but not with the depth that I hoped they would have done.
We want International Rugby League to be centred on Swansea as a regular feature, and I'm sure the game against the Australians will do a lot to establish this.
Well, there was a great crowd last time played at Swansea. You were delighted, weren't you, about
that was tremendous. When they played the French in the European Triangle. Yeah. Magnificent response, magnificent. And I'm sure it'll be just as good when the Australians come.
Do you think it did an awful lot for the World Championship? The wonderful crowd, all the enthusiasm, all the howl, or whatever you call it?
Oh, definitely. It established the credibility of the Welsh as a great national side, and that's what they are.
Well, I know the hoil as they go down there must help them when they play Australia. You feel that this is going to be a very important match?
Very important indeed. Australia is sitting at the head of the table at the moment, and they think that they've got the championship tied up. I think the Welsh boys have got other thoughts.
And, of course, they might do England a lot of good by beating the Aussies.
Well, that's a fact. That is a fact.
We hope it's a great success. We shall be with you.
Thank you
very much, David Doxon, for joining us.